Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to talk about why your aim still sucks in Fortnite Chapter 2. Now, I know not all of you watching have bad aim, so I apologize for being a little aggressive there, but after reading through some comments, it's evident a large portion of you lads are really struggling. Even the hardcore grinders who are out there using aim trainers and actively trying to improve their aim, they're telling me they're not seeing any results. They've watched all my guides and tutorials, yet there's little to no progress. If this sounds like something you're going through and you're currently on the verge of giving up, please don't. Trust me on this one, I know how you feel because I've been there myself. However, after taking a step back and utilizing some of the tips I'm about to share, my aim improved 10 times faster than it did before and is currently at the best it's ever been. So as long as you give me 10 minutes of your time, I promise you I will make your aim better. The first way I'm going to do that is by changing up your aim training routine. If you're trying to improve your aim, you need to be using an aim trainer of some sort. Kovacs, Aimtastic, Aim Hero, or in-game creative aim trainers, they're all good to use. What's not fine though is doing tile frenzy drills. These are the training exercises where a random target pops up and you're supposed to shoot at them as quickly as possible. Tfue pretty much made these popular in the Fortnite scene as everyone hopped on the Kovacs bandwagon, and now they've somehow managed to sneak their way into different creative aim trainers like the one I'm currently using. The code will be in the description, by the way. The thing is, these tile frenzy drills are horrible for improving your aim. They're by far the worst and biggest wastes of time. Why? Think about how often you aim at a stationary target in game. Rarely if ever. And even if you do come across a bot that's standing completely still, you shouldn't have any trouble hitting them. They're literally not moving. Why would you ever practice hitting a target that does not move? You want realistic practice, and in real games, your opponents are constantly moving. That's why my first tip is to avoid tile frenzy and instead focus on tracking drills. These are any and all exercises that have moving targets and that will force you to track them with your shots in order to eliminate them. They'll teach you mouse control, crosshair alignment, and many other aiming techniques you'd never get from playing tile frenzy. Plus, they will actually improve your Fortnite aim. You want to know why all the top aim training coaches like Kataz and Aimer7 recommend tracking drills? The answer is that they work, and they work for players of all skill levels. If they manage to improve the aim of top tier pros like NRG8 and Liquid Scented, then you know for a fact that focusing on tracking practice will help you. Regarding actual routines, I'd recommend looking at my recent Kovacs guide if you're on PC. Otherwise, just use this map, which I did make a video on. As long as you're practicing your tracking though, your aim will improve. Alright, but how can you improve your shotgun aim? The answer is again, tracking drills. Not the long range tracking drills obviously, but close range ones like these. I believe the creator of this map calls them flick drills, but if you think about what you're actually doing while hitting shotgun shots in game, you're not always flicking. You're seeing where the target will end up, then placing your crosshair to that spot and shooting. So please, don't use tile frenzy for close range either. Use flick drills like these with moving targets. Moving on, the second reason your aim still sucks is that you're playing on too high of a sensitivity. No matter how much aim training you do, if you're on a bad sensitivity, your aim will not get that much better. This is something I've noticed whenever I make a video on finding a good sense. Tons of people leave comments saying that they play on ridiculous stuff like 800 DPI, 0.30 in-game sense, or 1600 DPI, 0.18 in-game sense. Now, I'll admit, I have said your sense is preference in the past, because it is, but in terms of your aim, low sense is undoubtedly better. If you don't believe me, this is a spreadsheet of the top 10 players from the World Cup and their eDPIs, aka their DPI times in-game sense. For duos, the range was from 24 to 68, with 120 as an outlier, and then for solos, it was very similar, with the low end at 48 and high end at 80. I'm not saying low sense is better overall, as Fortnite is is much more than just aiming. You will always have gods like Benji Fishy, Nosh, Dwifo, and Mr. Savage dominating on high sense. However, I think they can agree with me that aiming and hitting shots are their biggest flaws. Even with years of practice and building muscle memory, they can still find it difficult to control their sense. Therefore, my tip for all you high sense guys is to try out an eDPI of less than 80. Just give it a shot for a few days and pay attention to how much better your aim feels. I can almost guarantee you'll be hitting more shotgun shots consistently and for higher damage numbers. Let's say you just cannot stand playing on low sense though. Maybe you don't have enough mousepad space for it, or you just don't have the willpower to switch. What you can do instead is lower your targeting sense. This is what dictates your ADS sense, aka your sensitivity when you aim down sight. Insane aimers like Mongrel, Tfue, and Booga all have extremely low targeting sensitivities. Mongrel uses 0.270, Tfue uses 0.3, and Booga uses 0.303. By the way, these numbers are just multipliers of the normal sensitivity. So Tfue's ADS sense, for example, is 30% of his normal sense, all because his targeting sense is 0.3. Anyways, if you're currently using anything above 0.5 and your AR aim is not that good, then I do recommend lowering it. I personally started at 0.5 and slowly worked my way down to 0.3. Another thing I wanted to mention was the argument for using 1.0 because that would make your normal and ADS sense the same, meaning you can flick while ADSing. I don't think that's smart because the whole point of aiming down sight is to hit targets from far away. And in order to do that, you need to be much more precise, which is exactly what a low targeting sense will give you. On top of that, it does not change your normal in-game X and Y sense, so you can still build and edit as fast as you normally would. The only thing that's different is your sensitivity when you press right click or left bumper to aim in. The next major reason your aim is not improving is your setup, more specifically, your mouse. Believe it or not, the mouse you're using has a huge effect on your aim. How? Well, there's a couple of reasons. The biggest is that your mouse may not be optimal for you personally. I've talked about this in the past, so if you're trying to find the perfect mouse for you, I highly recommend watching my video on the topic. I cover everything you need to know from your grip style to resources you can use to compare mice. If you want the short version, it's this. Different mice are better for specific grip styles and hand sizes. That may be obvious to you because you're a PC veteran, but many people do not know that. In my case, I have a medium-sized hand and a claw grip. That means if I were to use a really small mouse, like the Model O-, then I wouldn't be aiming at my full potential. My grip wouldn't be as optimal, and my aim would never be as good as it could be. Another possible way your mouse can affect your aim is if it's too heavy. Have you ever wondered why a majority of pros use lightweight mice? The answer is that it's easier to aim and to control your shots with. So if you're thinking about upgrading your setup for Christmas, a lightweight mouse should definitely be at the top of your list. I'm not saying you should go and spend $300 on a final mouse, but if you're using a Logitech G502 that weighs well over 100 grams, just know there's a lot better options that will single-handedly improve your aim. My final tip for improving your aim is a pretty simple one, and that is to give yourself time to improve. Your aim is easily the hardest mechanic in Fortnite to improve at, and to improve at quickly. I've been grinding on keyboard and mouse for well over a year now, yet my aim is still nowhere as good as someone like Zexrose or Frosty ZKs. Those are guys who have been playing PC games for years and have been aim training for that long as well. Lastly, I can guarantee if it has been more than a few months and your aim is still booty, then you're probably doing one of the many things I've said not to in this video. Either your sense was too high, you haven't been aim training properly, or you've been using a bad mouse. Regardless of the reason, follow my tips and tricks, put the time in to aim train, and I promise you, your aim will improve. There's absolutely no way it does not. Overall, boys, that's why your aim still sucks in Fortnite Chapter 2. If you learned something new or found the video useful, then do be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Shout out to everyone using code Jerian. I truly appreciate all your support recently. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.